XCMG D360 dozer operation and maintenance. D360 is a kind of hydrodynamic transmission, electronically controlled gearshift crawler dozer. This product inherits the excellent product quality of XCMG. It provides stable and reliable performance in excavation, backfilling, and earth-moving work of highways, railways and airports, etc. It is an indispensable construction machinery for national defense, urban architecture, water conservancy, and other construction projects. It utilizes advanced technologies such as intelligent control, load limit, hydraulic pilot blade control, electronic gearshift, and construction data management. It is a technologically advanced and highly efficient, easily operated, flexible and highly reliable construction equipment. Dozer operation. Startup introduction. Before starting the equipment, shall check engine oil level, fuel level, coolant level, hydraulic oil level, which shall be above middle marks, the connections of each part, the sealing of oil pipe, water pipe and other parts. The control lever flexible and in neutral. The hand throttle is in the idle position. The air conditioner is turned off. The service brake and park brake work reliably. Seat belts and all kinds of safety-related devices work normally. Only after confirming that all parts are operating normally can the engine be started. Start the engine. Turn on the main disconnect switch. Turn the left direction button. In the cabin to the N position, turn the key switch. Power on the dashboard. Turn the key switch again for 3 to 5 seconds. Start the engine. After the engine started, immediately release the start switch. After starting, allow the engine to idle for 3 to 5 minutes. Check if the meters work normally. If there are no abnormalities, the brake can be released. Prepare for traveling. Caution 1. Starting gear must be placed in neutral N position. 2. Starting time should not exceed 10 to 15 seconds, and if it is necessary to start twice, the interval time should not be less than 1 minute. If it fails to start for 3 times in a row, the reason should be found out and the problem should be solved before restarting. 3. Before starting, make sure all the control levers in neutral position, the gearbox in neutral and the switch is in the original position. 4. It is not allowed to increase the throttle to the maximum position directly after starting, which may damage the diesel engine parts. 5. When the engine is running at high or low speed, the gearbox should not run in neutral continuously for more than 20 minutes. Other operations on the diesel engine are carried out in accordance with the diesel engine's document instruction manual. Driving introduction. Before driving, check the engine transmission system, whether there are abnormal noise, whether the working device is normal, whether the braking is safe and reliable, whether the steering is flexible and reliable, whether the electric circuit is smooth, whether the switch and lever operate properly, whether the light instrument is valid, whether the indicator is normal. After starting the engine, pull the throttle lever backward. Accelerate the engine. Lift the blade up to 40 to 50 centimeters above the ground. Lift the ripper to the highest position. Press the red lock button on the left lever. Release the lockout. Depress the parking pedal. Release the brake. Press the direction button to F. Pull the throttle lever backward. Accelerate. Caution. 1. When starting, step on the throttle pedal and adjust the engine speed to ease the impact. 2. When starting on a steep hill, keep the brake pedal depressed and immobile. Push the gearshift thumb wheel into gear 1 and slowly release the brake pedal. Start the dozer slowly and adjust the throttle lever to adjust the engine speed as needed. 3. When the variable speed thumb wheel is not out of gear, the dozer will not start even if the engine is started due to the safety valve. In this case, the direction button should be pushed to neutral N first and then into the required gear. The dozer will start. 4. In case of slope or road. With poor conditions, high-speed driving is strictly prohibited. 5. Select the appropriate gear before going downhill. Do not shift gear in the downhill course. 6. It is strictly prohibited to overspeed when going downhill, and the foot brake pedal can be used to reduce the speed. When the gearshift equipment needs to be shifted while traveling, the following operations should be carried out. When shifting from low speed to high speed or from high speed to low speed, depress the accelerator pedal first, reduce the engine speed, at the same time, operate the thumb wheel to shift gears. Then release the accelerator pedal. The range of application of each gear is as follows: gear leveling operation for large conditions such as uneven pavement and large dozing. Capacity, slope climbing gear, fine leveling, surface dust and snow removal. Transport on uneven road gear 3, driving at high speed. Caution. 1. Shifting gear should be done in sequence. 2. When shifting gear, acceleration is forbidden to avoid over-impact on the transmission system. 3. In order to improve driver comfort and maximize lifetime of the power parts, be sure to slow down when shifting gears. 4. It is not necessary to stop the vehicle or press the brake pedal to change gears while driving. When turning, turn the steering lever halfway in the direction you want to turn. Disengage the steering clutch. The dozer makes a slow turn. Continue to pull the steering lever to the end. Apply brake to steering brake on the both sides. Dozer turns in pivot. Caution. 1. Turning at high speed is forbidden. 2. Turning on a slope is forbidden. Use the engine throttle brake when going downhill. Push the gearshift thumb wheel to the low speed gear. Pull the throttle lever to the low speed position. Slowly depress the accelerator pedal. Make the engine speed drop. Caution. 1. Do not put your foot on the brake pedal unless it is really necessary. 2. Don't press down the pedal repeatedly unless it is really necessary. 3. When traveling downhill, never shift gears or put the gearbox in neutral. Introduction to operation. Operating the dozer blade. Right hand lever, longitudinal direction, separate controls for raising and lowering the blade. Right lever left and right direction, control the tilt swing of the blade. Caution. 1. During tilt operation, if the tilt cylinder piston is at the end of the stroke, the lever should be restored to the end position as soon as possible. 2. Do not tilt the blade with the blade in the highest or lowest position. Operating the ripper, left-right direction. Separate control the ripper up and down. Longitudinal direction. Separately control the downward digging and upward lifting of the ripper. Caution. 1. If the oil temperature gauge of the torque converter exceeds the green range during operation, reduce the load during operation and work again after the oil temperature drops. 2. When the equipment is parked on the inclined ground, if the fuel level is low, the engine will be stalled due to the tilting and shaking of the vehicle, and the brake effectiveness will be reduced. Therefore, attention should be paid to the fuel level. Introduction to parking. Push the accelerator lever to idle speed when stopping the vehicle. Press the brake pedal to stop the vehicle. Put the direction button to neutral position. Place the blade and ripper horizontally on the ground. Caution. 1. The equipment should be parked on the level ground of where it will not be exposed to falling rocks, landslides or floods. 2. If it is necessary to temporarily park the machine on a slope, use wooden chocks to prevent the machine from moving. Stop the engine and turn the key switch to off. Turn off the power main switch. To disconnect the circuit, remove the key for safekeeping. Caution: 1.do. Not stop the engine immediately after stopping the machine. Better make the engine idling for 5 minutes. Let the engine cool down before stopping the engine. 2. In case of emergency, press the engine off button and release it when the engine is off, then perform the above steps to stop the engine. Getting off the dozer. When getting off, use the footrests and handrails and face the dozer. Do not jump off the dozer. Check the engine components. 4. Accumulation of debris-like materials. Remove them in time. Fire prevention. Remove all flammable materials around the vehicle. Prevent fires. Lock the doors, windows and side doors, and take the keys away. After daily work, check fuel level. Check the engine oil sump oil level and cleanliness. If the oil level is too high and thin, the root cause should be identified. And troubleshoot. Check all oil and water pipes and components. For leakage, check the gearbox. Check the sealing of the torque converter and hydraulic oil pump. And overheating phenomenon. Check the bolts and pins for looseness. Check whether the working device is normal. Pressure grease into the lubricating points of the working device according to the regulations. Clean the exterior of the machine and dirt and debris on blade. Special environment operation. Cold weather operation. If the temperature is too low, it will be difficult to start the engine and the radiator may be frozen. Therefore, it is necessary to pay attention to the following points. 1. Use low viscosity fuel, hydraulic oil and lubricating oil for all parts, and add antifreeze in the coolant. 2. Antifreeze fluid should be kept away from open fire, and no smoking when using. 3. Prohibit the use of antifreeze containing methanol, ethanol, propanol. 4. Prohibit the use of any anti-leakage water agent, whether used alone or together with antifreeze. 5. Prohibit the mixing of different grades of antifreeze. 6. When replacing antifreeze, please refer to the requirements in the instruction manual for the use ratio of antifreeze. 7. Try to keep the battery charging rate close to 100 and keep it well insulated to ensure that the engine is easy to start on the next day. 8. If the battery freezes, charging or starting the engine is prohibited. 9. In the high cold area, should use the battery that can resist high cold. After the work is completed every day, in order to prevent the sludge, water or snow sticking to the machine from freezing and affecting the vehicle start the next day, do the following. 1. Thoroughly remove the silt, water or snow on the machine to avoid damage to the sealing performance due to silt, water or snow entering the seal and freezing. 2. Park the vehicle on a dry hard surface, or if this is not possible, park the vehicle on a wooden board, the use of which prevents the vehicle from being frozen to the ground and makes it easier to drive the vehicle the next day. 3. If anti-freezing solution is not added, the water in water tank, engine, 8C evaporator and relevant pipelines shall be drained thoroughly to prevent it being frozen. For in cold weather, the storage battery capacity will decline significantly, so that the storage battery shall be covered or be transferred to a warm place and then reinstalled when working in the next day. The following should be done when the weather turns warm. 1. All parts are changed with semi-viscous fuel, hydraulic oil and lubricant. 2. If permanent antifreeze is not used, all water in the cooling system must be drained, the cooling system must be cleaned, and new cooling water must be replaced. Enclosed space operations. 1. If it is necessary to operate machinery or handle fuel, clean parts, or paint in a closed or poorly ventilated area, it is necessary to open doors and windows to ensure adequate ventilation to prevent gas poisoning if opening doors and windows still does not provide adequate ventilation. An exhaust fan should be installed too. When working in a closed space, fire extinguishers should be set up first, and keep in mind their storage places and use methods. Introduction to operating devices. Dashboard interface layout, light indication area, engine speed meter, water, temp gauge, indication of engine oil pressure, indication of torque, converter temperature, error indication area, gear preset indication, steering direction indication, vehicle condition information, system settings, GPS, maintenance information, error message, manual and automatic gear indication, indication of working modes, urea level indication reserved, gearbox pressure indication, fuel gauge, alarm indication, vehicle condition information subinterface, system settings subinterface, factory settings subinterface, GPS subinterface, maintenance information subinterface, fault alarm subinterface, combination switch, key switch, DPF regeneration switch reserved, e-stop button, USB receptacle, horn button, 24V interface, front wiper switch, front wiper washer switch, rear wiper switch, rear wiper washer switch, ceiling light switch, radio, AC control switch, panel, high beam switch, low beam switch, position light switch, warning flasher switch, ECO switch, light load mode switch, medium load mode switch, heavy load mode switch, deceleration pedal, brake pedal, work device control lever. According to the instruction plate diagram on the control lever, the adjustment of all working devices can be controlled by the corresponding levers respectively. The control method is completely pilot-operated steering lever, speed change and steering interlock, variable speed thumb wheel, direction button, gear preset knob. Caution: the back side of the gearshift steering lever is equipped with a locking button, which is locked by default, and the lever can be unlocked to control the vehicle driving and steering. AC cooling: start the engine. Switch on the power switch. Switch on the cooling switch to the appropriate position. Adjust the airflow switch. Adjust the air direction. Turn on or off the fresh air vents as needed. Heater: open the left side engine hood. Open the valve on the line from the engine to the heater. Start the engine for 10 minutes. Wait for the water temperature to rise. Press the heater switch. Adjust the air direction. Caution: close the water valve when using the cooling function and only open the ball valve when using the heating function. Fire extinguishers are placed in the cab at left side of the operator's seat. Caution: the following procedures should be followed in the event of a fire. 1. Stop the engine. 2. Disconnect the main power switch. 3. Extinguish the fire with a fire extinguisher. 4. Prevent the fire from spreading. 5. Seek assistance. Extinguish the fire with a fire extinguisher. Take the fire extinguisher from the bracket. Remove the safety pin. Hold the fire extinguisher hose firmly. Point the nozzle towards the fire. Press down on the handle of the fire extinguisher to extinguish the fire. Caution: 1. Extinguish the fire with the fire extinguisher and stop using the fire extinguisher once the fire has been extinguished. 2. Replace or maintain the fire extinguisher after each use. 3. Fire extinguishers should only be maintained by qualified departments. 4. Remember to carry out regular maintenance of fire extinguishers. Preparation of the gearbox before driving. 1. The oil in the transmission serves as a working medium for the hydraulic system of the torque converter. Transmission hydraulic system, as well as cooling and lubricating the parts in the torque converter transmission. The amount and type of oil used in the transmission must be added in accordance with regulations, and the oil must be kept clean. 2. Before the gearbox runs, pay attention to filling the right amount of lubricating oil with the correct grade the first time of filling the gearbox. The amount of oil used for radiator, filter, and piping should be considered. After the first filling, the lubricating oil goes deep into every corner of the system. Therefore, the amount of oil filled for the first time is more than that filling in the subsequent maintenance process. 3. After the torque converter oil radiator is installed on the equipment, the oil is returned to the gearbox sump through the pipeline. When the equipment is stopped and the engine is still idling, the gearbox oil level should be controlled in order to keep the gearbox at the thermal equilibrium temperature for normal operation. 4. Check the oil level in a safe manner, e.g. the machine must be parked on a level surface. The gear lever must be in neutral and locked, and the brake pedal must be depressed to prevent the machine from moving. 5. Check the oil level process. The oil temperature is 80. The transmission oil level must reach the upper scale line of the oil scale. The oil temperature is 40. The transmission oil level must reach the lower scale line of the oil scale. 6. The oil level should be checked by inserting the dipstick into the end of the oil line. 7. When cleaning the main circuit filter, take care to prevent dirt and sediment from entering the oil circuit. 8. When installing the filter, take care not to over-tighten. 9. The oil level should be checked before driving and should be checked once a day. Driving and gear shifting. 1. Before starting the engine, make sure the gear lever is in neutral. 2. For safety reasons, before starting the engine, the brake should be in the braking state so that the car cannot be started by starting the engine. 3. After starting the engine, release the parking brake. Select the driving direction and gear and start the car by slowly opening the throttle. 4. If the car is to be parked for a long time, move the control lever to the neutral position. 5. When changing from high gear to low gear, the engine speed is accelerated. Therefore, if conditions permit, when changing from high gear to low gear, first apply the foot brake and slowly brake the car before changing gear. 6. The engine speed should be reduced when the vehicle is running at high speed and when changing the direction of travel. Oil temperature. Gearbox oil temperature is detected using a temperature sensor on the torque converter. Temperature indication on the dashboard, displayed on the torque converter temperature indicator on the instrument panel. Caution: the oil temperature at the torque converter outlet must not exceed 120 degrees Celsius. During normal operation, the oil temperature at the torque converter outlet is between 80 and 110 degrees Celsius, and it is allowed to rise to 120 degrees Celsius for a short period of time under heavy load if the oil temperature exceeds this temperature range. If the oil temperature exceeds this temperature range, it is necessary to stop the car and check whether there is a leak in the oil circuit, and meanwhile the transmission should be put into neutral and the engine should be rotated at 1200 to 1500 RPM, in which case the oil temperature will be reduced very quickly to the normal value, about 2 to 3 times the normal value. If the oil temperature is not reduced, there is a fault somewhere in the system and the fault must be rectified before operation. During oil pressure test, the normal oil pressure in the gearbox of this machine ranges from 21 bar to 24 bar. Gearbox pressure 24 bar-26 bar. Torque converter outlet pressure 3 point for bar, 4 point for bar. Torque converter inlet pressure 8.7 bar, 9.3 bar. Left brake pressure 15 bar, 19 bar. Right brake pressure 15 bar, 19 bar. Left steering clutch pressure 19 bar, 24 bar. Right steering clutch pressure 19 bar, 24 bar. Hydraulic system pressure 200 bar, 220 bar, measured at rated engine speed 2000 rpm. Routine maintenance of Dozer. Oil and water supply. Oil types and brands list. Table of oil types and grades, cold and severe cold areas. Caution: 1. Oil must be clean. Diesel must be precipitated for 72 hours. 2. The oil injector and oil injection parts must be cleaned to prevent water and dirt from entering the oil. 3. Check the oil level with the machine level. 4. All types of oil must not be mixed. Substitute strictly according to the oil grade table for refilling. 5. Check for leakage after refilling and replacement. 6. When checking or replacing oil and coolant, take care to avoid scalding. Introduction of refilling methods. Fuel tank supply. Check fuel level. There is a fuel level gauge on the instrument panel. Turn on the power key switch. The pointer needs to be kept greater than 10. Discharging contaminated remains. Drain the water and impurities accumulated in the fuel tank. Drain water and impurities from the bottom of the tank. At the same time, clean the fuel filler neck and suction pipe. Replace if damaged. Insert the suction pipe of the petrol pump into the oil drum. Switch on the oil pump to add oil. Check the engine oil supply level by pulling out the dipstick. Wipe its head end and insert. Pull it out again to check. The oil level should be between the upper and lower scales of the dipstick. If the oil level is below the lower scale, to replenish to the upper scale. Caution: 1. Check the oil level before starting or after the engine has been stationary for about 15 minutes. 2. Check the state of contamination of the oil and whether there is any dirt mixed in. If there is excessive contamination, replace with new oil. Replace oil. Discharge the polluted oil from the drainage plug of engine oil sump. Fill new oil from oil filling plug till the oil level up to the upper scale of dipstick. After making the engine rotate at a low speed, stop the engine, then check the oil level. If the oil is insufficient, replenish with oil till upper scale of dipstick. Caution: 1. Do not exceed the upper scale when injecting oil. 2. The engine oil must be changed when the engine is hot. Oil products. Gearbox oil must be used in strict accordance with the regulations. It is recommended to give priority to using XCMG Special 8 hydraulic transmission. Park the vehicle in a flat place. Travel shift button in neutral position. The gearbox is in the operating temperature range. The engine is idling. Check oil level. Unscrew the dipstick anti-clockwise. Remove the dipstick and wipe it clean. Insert the dipstick into the oil level tube and tighten it. Remove it when it is in place. When the oil temperature is about 40 degrees Celsius, oil level should be between lower and middle scale. When the oil temperature is about 80 degrees Celsius, the oil level should be between the upper scale and the middle scale. Caution: 1. Checking the cold oil level is only to ensure that there is sufficient circulation to the transmission and torque converter. The final criterion for determining the oil level is to meet the hot oil level. 2. The first oil change must be carried out after the first 100 hours of operation. Thereafter, the oil should be changed at least once every 1,000 hours or annually. Changing the gearbox oil. Start the engine and run at idle speed. Travel shift button in neutral position. Fill oil to the middle scale. Parking brake is applied on safe position. Select every gear once. Check the oil level again. Refill when needed. Caution: 1. Use clean gearbox oil and filter. 2. The markings on the dipstick must always be observed. Warm tips. 1. Park the vehicle on level ground. With the gearbox at operating temperature, remove the drain plug and seal and drain the old oil. 2. The oil drain plug and housing sealing surface should be kept clean and fitted with a new seal. 3. In accordance with the recommended lubricating oil filling, about 28 liters of oil. This value is the capacity of the oil pool. The external oil, such as radiator and pipeline oil, according to the different models, the given value is a guide value when draining the oil, not only to drain the transmission oil, but also to drain the torque converter and radiator, so as not to cause secondary contamination of the oil. 4. The use of impure and non-conforming oil will cause serious malfunction of the gear unit, and our company will not be responsible for compensation. Replace filter. Apply a thin layer of oil on the sealing ring. Press the filter firmly until it comes into contact with the sealing surface on the case. Then hand tighten about 1/3 to 1/2 turn. Add oil and start the engine. The engine is idling. Gearbox oil temperature is operating temperature. Check gearbox oil level. Check for tightening. If necessary, tighten it again by hand. Caution: 1. The filter must be changed every time the oil is changed. Damaged filters must not be used. 2. If there is a problem with the equipment requiring electric welding maintenance, the wiring harness connector of the engine computer control box located in the engine compartment must be disconnected. Otherwise, the inrush current from the electric welding will burn the computer control box. 3. It is strictly forbidden for non-professionals to open the transmission computer control box. 4. The harness plug connected to the transmission computer control box cannot be disassembled with electricity. It must be switched off after the operation. 5. After the repair is completed, please make sure that the wiring harness connector of the computer control box is plugged in as required. Otherwise, the equipment will not be able to start and run. Rear axle oil filling volume check. Unscrew the oil inspection plug located at the rear side of the rear axle. Remove the dipstick. Ensure that the oil level is between the upper and lower scales of the dipstick when the oil level is lower than the lower scale. To replenish to the upper scale, replace oil. Drain the old oil from the drain plug at the bottom of the rear axle. Unscrew the rear axle filler plug. Fill with fresh oil until the oil level reaches the scale. Then tighten the hole plugs. Final drive oil fill level check. Unscrew the left and right final drive oil filler plugs. Ensure that the oil level is between the upper and lower scales of the dipstick. When the oil level is below the lower scale, fill to the upper scale. Replace with new oil. Drain the old lubricant from the drain plug in the lower part of the final drive side housing. Drain the old lubricant. Open the final drive oil filler plugs. Fill with fresh oil until the oil level reaches the scale. Then tighten the hole plugs. Hydraulic tank oil fill level check. Check the hydraulic tank oil level gauge. Oil level needs to be kept in the upper middle position of the oil level gauge. Refill when insufficient. Caution: when checking the oil level, the blade should be placed on the ground horizontally while the engine should be off. Replace oil, blade and ripper on the ground. Shut down the engine. Loosen the screw plug at the bottom of the oil tank. Allow the oil to flow into a container. When the oil has run out, tighten the screw plug, open the filter, adding filtered hydraulic oil. Oil level should be up to the upper middle position of the observed oil level gauge. Install the filter cover, start the engine, control the levers of all operating devices. Make repeated movements of the lever over large distances. This allows the hydraulic system to be filled with hydraulic oil and exhaust the gas. Fully fill the hydraulic system at the same time. If necessary, refill the oil through the filter port. When replacing the filter cartridge or servicing the system, unscrew the filter end cap. The self-sealing valve of the filter closes automatically. Isolate the oil circuit of the oil tank so that the oil in the tank will not flow out to the outside. Convenient operation. Coolant level replenishment when the engine water temperature is too high. Firstly, check the radiator fluid level and replenish it. Also check whether the holes in the radiator core are clogged or not. Check for broken pipes. Ensure that the radiator cap is tightly closed. Prevent evaporation of coolant. Tips: coolant change and internal radiator cleaning. The coolant must be changed while the radiator is cool. Remove the radiator cap first, then open the drain valve at the bottom. Drain all the coolant. After replacing the coolant, start the engine. Allow the water surface to lower slightly, then stop the engine. Replenish the coolant again. Caution: 1. Never open the radiator cap when the engine has just stopped or is turning. It is very dangerous to spill hot coolant. 2. In hot weather above 30, as the engine is prone to overheating phenomenon, stop in a cool place as far as possible. 3. To prolong the life of the engine after use, it is necessary to run the engine at low speed for 5 minutes to reduce the water temperature before stopping the engine. 4. The freezing point of the antifreeze should be at least 10 degrees lower than the lowest temperature of the location. 5. Antifreeze should be changed annually.
维护保养介绍
The reliability, availability and service life of dozers depends to a large extent on the correct use and maintenance. Correct inspection and maintenance not only prolongs the service life of the machine, but also help to detect faults and troubleshoot as early as possible. Therefore, can reduce maintenance time and save maintenance costs. Inspection and maintenance before starting working. Check the radiator water level. Check the engine oil level in the engine sump. Check fuel tank oil level, hydraulic oil level, gearbox oil level. Check the sealing of oil pipes, water pipes and accessories. Check whether the foot brake works reliably. Check whether the control lever is flexible and in the neutral position. Check the universal joint connecting bolts. Check whether there is any looseness in the connecting bolts of the blade. Inspection and maintenance after starting work. Check the fuel reserves. Check the engine oil sump. Oil level and cleanliness. If the oil level is too high and getting thin gradually, shall identify the cause and troubleshoot. Check the oil pipe, water pipe and all parts for leakage. Check gearbox, torque converter, hydraulic oil pump, rear axle box seal and overheating phenomenon. Check the working device bolts, universal joint bolts, and the fixing of each pin for looseness. When the temperature is below 0 degrees centigrade, the coolant should be drained. Apply grease to every lubricating point as scheduled. Caution: 1. Vehicle inspection and maintenance should be carried out in a reasonable manner to avoid accidents or injuries. 2. After inspection, you should draw a mark when you find a bad part and repair it after all inspections are completed. 3. Smoke and fire should be strictly prohibited during inspection and maintenance, and a fire extinguisher should be set up at the same time. Regular inspection and maintenance. Proper lubrication and maintenance can ensure trouble-free operation of the dozer and long-term use, as a result of prolonging the operation period of the dozer and reduced operating costs. Thus, the time and costs involved in planned regular maintenance are greatly reduced. Caution! Note, regular inspection and maintenance should be adjusted according to the machine's operating environment, such as high temperature, high humidity, low temperature, multi-dust, high altitude, etc. For further information, please consult XCMG or XCMG dealers.